barista champion?
When you're spending 70% of your time into competition, you sacrifice everything else, right?
From being the first generation of coffee producers in Brazil, opening the first specialty cafes in Sao Paulo, and becoming the champion is a dream come true for Boram, family, and the whole Brazil. But it was never easy and effortless. Let's see how it all started.
The first time tasting coffee was here in Brazil. I was still young. I was probably like 12 years old. And it was at home, filtered coffee with milk and a lot of sugar, very sweet. I actually liked it, especially because it was very sweet. A lot of caramel flavor. As a kid, you love the sweet stuff.
Boram first tasted specialty coffee during his studies in the US. He spent 4 years in the finance industry overseas, but then decided to join his father's new coffee adventure.
Comecei a vender café commodity pelo mundo. Percebi que café do Brasil não é muito valorizado lá fora.
I started my career getting a Q-grader license and trying to sell our coffees abroad. And I think one of the biggest motivations why I decided to start a cafe was not only because I felt like Brazil needed more specialty coffee, but mainly because I felt like we did not know our product enough. I had a really hard time in 2015 traveling to different countries and trying to showcase our coffees and just not understanding enough about the coffee business. And for me, it was like, this will be a great learning experience, especially to understand better the quality of the coffees that we produce, but also learning how to roast them better and how to serve them better.
But it all started much earlier, when Stefano bought his first coffee farm back in 2009. And that's where the whole family learned hard lessons of coffee production, when following father's vision.
He's sort of the character that thinks nothing is impossible, which I think is why all of this is possible in terms of coffee farming. Like, I don't think I would ever thought in my life that we would be producing coffee like this. So we are here in south of Minas now. This is our main farm. So this is where everything started in terms of coffee production. So Minas is a very traditional region. It's the largest state of coffee production in Brazil. But we are in the south of Minas, almost bordering Sao Paulo. This region has always produced some of the best coffees in the country. So this is sort of like how we started. We didn't really know how to produce coffee, and this is how people advised us to start producing coffee. So very tight spacing in between trees because it's supposed to be mechanized. Well, we cannot really mechanize in here. A lot of monovarietal areas, so big areas with only single varieties. It took a while to realize that the business model of doing that in our farm would be impossible. I think probably like in the first 3-4 years, we're like selling the coffee in the market. We're never gonna be able to cover the costs. We're like, we need to change the strategy with the farm. And I think that's sort of like where it clicked, where we need to focus on quality and we need to focus on a different market. This is geisha. Nice floral cups, but not a lot of sweetness yet. I think we need more maturity or either some kind of processing. We were always open to many different ideas, like planting many different varietals. Like today, our farm has 48 varietals. I don't think any farm in Brazil does stuff like that. And really being sharp focused on quality has really pushed a lot of boundaries for us. And I think it's sort of the blessing of being first generation because we're just open to crazy ideas. So when me and my brother, we started competing, I think it completely changed the direction of the business, especially because when we started in 2016, it was all about learning more about our products and having a better understanding about how specialty Brazilian coffees can be served and what is the true potential of the coffees that we're serving. But then once we started competing, was like, how do we push that potential to new levels? And to a level where Brazilian coffee can be showcased as some of the best coffees in the world.
First was the coffee farm, but when Boram and Garam joined the business, it was to open cafes and to start roasting coffee.
I think the first turning point is when we started our first cafe. There was not a lot of specialty cafes in Sao Paulo yet. I think we had maybe 2 or 3 brands that were investing on specialty coffee culture. And also we never really had the experience of running a coffee shop. So we tried to play it safe, like we built our cafe here in our headquarters. So as you can see, simple setup. We used to have like an office here. When we opened in 2016, we had no idea what we were doing. So we made a lot of adjustments throughout the years.
Cafe quickly became popular, receiving many awards, so Coffee started to open more locations around Sao Paulo.
And this is our third shop. We opened this shop back in 2018. This is probably like one of the biggest projects that we decided to do back in 2018. This location for us, we had to think a lot about scale. So to do like a little bit of a bigger operation, especially because there's a lot of customers, like we'll have about 700 to 800 customers a day during the week. Brazilian coffee culture is highly based on Italian coffee culture. So people really enjoy milk drinks in the mornings with some baked good. And then they will have a lot of espresso in the afternoon after lunch, for example. Yeah, today we're extending our bar a little bit for coffee service. We're having the first ever Shopmaster being installed in the cafe. We're very excited because it's a new concept for Brazilian market. This definitely will fit here because this is our high volume cafe service. So we have a lot of peak times. Morning and after lunch are our biggest peak times and high on espresso based beverages. So it'll be a good test trial by fire for the machine as well. We're showcasing the Shopmaster for the first time here in Brazil, share a little bit of coffees with customers. So we had a few people come in, people from the industry mainly, because they want to see a new machine. They've never seen an Eversys working. People are quite surprised, especially with the quality of the extraction and also all the functionalities that the machine has. So I think it's a positive result so far. When we started out, there was no baristas. Not only we did not have enough knowledge to teach a barista how to work in a cafe, but it's just a profession that was really hard to pinpoint and find professionals on. So I remember hiring two young ladies that wanted to start this kind of coffee career, and basically it was me, and I think I opened and closed the cafe for the first 9 months, working as a barista during the operation hours and then roasting coffee in the evenings. And I think it was a lot of like learning on the job and really understanding the ins and outs of these kind of operation.
Barista competitions were always part of developing baristas. Boram was coaching and supporting many team members, but without a big success. Something had to change.
I just never saw myself as being a competitor. But the reason why in 2019, like I said, okay, sure, like I'll start competing was because I needed to learn more. And that's why me and my brother, we competed in 2019. The person that kind of brought the spark and started all of this is Marcia. She's sort of the person who came in 2018 and brought like, hey, this is the game plan. And I think Brazil needs a world barista champion to really change the market. So she kind of brought the dream to us and said, hey, I think you guys have the potential to start working with this.
Brazil is such a huge country, the biggest producer country, and we have a lot of baristas here who needs the inspiration. And of course, it's not only barista, but also the producers and the producers second, third generation, that having someone that can just see, oh, we have a goal. Look what Brazilian can do.
My dream was really to win with coffee that we produce in WBC, and we sort of believed that would be possible someday. It's sort of like a athlete mindset, and that's how we approach competition always. Especially me and my brother, we understand that if we want to improve at something, we have to push a lot of boundaries, and it requires a lot of dedication. And for me, it was like, okay, this is my objective, and I'm gonna do everything that I can to reach that objective. And when you're spending 70% of your time into competition, like you sacrifice everything else, right? Like no personal life, no time with friends, family, and like you're focused on that single objective.
First, we sit together and just write all the strategy, all the parts that we have to approach during this competition thing. So, for example, technical skill. Another part is speech in the public. Inspiration for the team, for the presentation. So every single thing we write down, and then we start to define. We have a make for 6 months for the first national.
Most barista competitors are competing for 5 years, like 7 years, like national champions. And that is because there is a technical level gap. that you need to reach. And for me, that was clear. I did not have that. So I remember we used to think very objectively about the results and what we need to do to get to those results. And it's all about training, right? Like you want to improve in something, you keep doing it until you get better at it.
So we say, okay, let's try training every day 4 hours. And then if we get close to the championship, we just increase the time.
Right?
Okay.
This is my primary training room. Obviously now it's our lab, quality control lab. But this is where I used to spend most of my time training. During the weekdays, it will be from 4 to 10 minimum. And then on the weekends would be almost entire days here. And this for like 3 years maybe. The station would be here. So like I would set up my machine set up here. As you can see, we have plugs down here to install a machine and grinder. And then maybe I'll have judges here, or depending on, normally national setup, it's an L shape. So I would put like machine here, judges here, and then put like prep table here. In reality, this space here is my dad's office. So my father has a table here. We have like a meeting room. And then we have a couch here. This is where I used to sleep some of my nights, especially because finishing 10, 11 p.m. sometimes I was too tired. I was like, okay, I'll just sleep here rather than commuting all the way home. For any competitor, competing for the first time is probably the biggest challenge, because you have no idea what's gonna happen. You have no idea if you're just gonna like get stuck, you're gonna forget what you're talking about, or you're gonna make a mistake and how you're gonna react to it. It was a nerve-wracking experience, but it was the moment I realized, hey, like this is something that I can do and I can improve on.
How did you end up first year competing?
I ended up winning in my first year, yeah. So it's not too bad. Obviously not common to win your first year. We did not go with the objective of winning, but we did prepare ourselves the best way we could.
Besides training hard, it's also about finding a way to train smart with the help of experienced mentors. At the very beginning, it was Japanese team that brought a lot of skills and structure to the preparation.
So he said, usually we have 3 times to compete. Like we can be in the world stage. So first time, probably you're gonna learn because it's your first time, you're nervous. Second time, you should go to the semi-final or final. And then the last time is a final. So we have these 3 times in our mind.
We kind of accelerated the program through them, and their experience was crucial. And then the final sort of like team that we built was with the Canadian team, especially because we sort of built a really nice relationship with Cole and Dave, are the 2 brothers, and they have extensive experience in coffee competition as well. They were sort of like the final matching team for us to win it in 2023. They've been involved with our competition since 2021.
Becoming the champion is about small details, and mental training and preparation is often overlooked. But Boram took inspiration from elite athletes.
Having a healthy kind of lifestyle and being highly focused on being on highest performance. So that included a lot on sleep improvement, getting well rested before competitions, keeping like mental health on a good point as well. Like I sort of started doing therapy back in 2020, and I saw a lot of improvement on how I process and how I deal with stress in high stress environments as well. And I did high performance stress training with a coach that works with athletes, and she really helped me understand how my brain should process high stress level environments.
In 1 month and 2 months, we can see all the difference. And sometimes feels like they're playing some games, but then we understand our brain is, we need to do exercise as our body.
I usually work with athletes, and I never knew barista world, so that was a challenge. I came on Saturdays here to see Boram training and understand the difference of his performance and the world's best barista's performance then, so I could help him to get his performance improvement.
We train once a week, And I think we trained for about 2 years. Yeah. What I felt personally is that I could adapt to situations quicker. And like if I made a mistake, I can do quick fixes. But also I felt like I was learning things faster, like motor skills or technical skills for barista. I think it accelerated a lot of things.
Let's see the coffee that Boram chose to use at the World Barista Championship in 2023.
When you have an incredible cup of coffee in terms of production level, it minimizes a lot of the mistakes that can be done in terms of roasting and extraction. And for me, that was it. That was like, we need to produce the most incredible coffees. Even in 2019, there was a lot of stigma about fermentation in Brazil. Producers would say like, you guys are crazy, like you guys are rotting coffee and bringing all these crazy acidity, and this is defective, this is not good quality coffee. But it was a moment where the market abroad has always already shifted towards fermented coffees, right? I think most of my competition in 2019 was focused on learning more about fermentation and improving the coffees that we ferment in our farms. And then 2021, where I competed in my second round of nationals and second round of worlds, is all about genetics. So we studied a lot of that as well. And then my final cycle of competition has been fully about drying coffee and how to better dry coffee and darkroom drying. So I think my involvement and the direction of the company shifted towards, let's push a lot of boundaries and let's produce coffees that were never produced in Brazil. So we are here at Pink Bourbon lot. This is where the coffee for WBC came out of. So for the championship, we had a few options. We wanted to use some of the newer varieties. But overall, in WBC, we kind of chose Pink Bourbon because everyone knows and everyone at some point have tasted. We're the first producers of Pink Bourbon in Brazil. Most of our processed coffees or high-end coffees are all going to be dried here. And we're doing full dried room processes. So we'll ferment cherries and go straight into dark rooms for drying. So no sunlight at all in the process. And that's been working really well for us. So I think the biggest concept of dark room is continuous fermentation. Our objective is really to preserve as much complexity in these coffees. The difference of a coffee that is dried in the sun and coffee that is dried in a dark room. And we realize that there's a lot of potential of the coffee complexity, sweetness, and flavors that are lost because we're interrupting a lot of the fermentation process through sunlight. And drying coffees here in a controlled environment like this really changes profiles and changes what we're accustomed to tasting in Brazilian coffees. So this is part of our constant search for what is the best that Brazil can offer in terms of quality. I only had 2 months and a half to prepare for WBC, but then once I knew I won nationals, it was full-on training regime for WBC, and this would be 6 to 7 hours training per day. Wake up in the morning, do like some kind of physical activity and get like my workout done in the day, and then get to office and do work in the mornings. I would do emails and meetings and things like that, get sort of the work part done. And then normally like after 1 or 2, I would be like, nobody talks to me now because I'm in training. And I would lock myself here in this room and do practice runs and have a structured program every day. Like I'm gonna spend 1-2 hours doing milk steaming and improving my technique in milk, for example. I'm gonna do 1 hour of espresso dialing, and then the rest of the time I'm just gonna do routines. Like I'm gonna do 10 times my presentation today or 15 times my presentation today. And that would be sort of like my every single day. And once we got closer to competition time, it was probably like a month before competition. It's when I flew over to Canada with the Canadian team and I stayed in their HQ, and then we're doing presentations and changing details every single day. And in that sense, I was like maybe spending 2 hours doing emails and the rest of the day just training. I think we arrived in Athens about 20 or 15 days before, and that's where we are like geared 100% on competition. And that's all we're thinking about, that's all we're imagining, and that's all we're practicing right before competition. So it's sort of like an incremental build up, and then you're full on right before competition. My dream to improve coffee quality allowed me to meet some of the best coffee producers all over the globe, landing especially in Panama this year. Getting to finals was sort of like a dream come true for us, especially because like it is something that we've been working on for so long, and sort of we wanted to be in finals that year, especially because in my head it was like, okay, this is probably like the last shot I have in WBC. I've been competing for 4 years now and putting a lot of time and effort and money into this. So for me, once I got into finals, I was like very relieved in many ways. And right before calling time in the finals day, I was like, I never felt lighter in a stage, because I felt like that huge pressure of me getting into finals was gone. Now you have met all of our team members today, starting with Kai Jensen and my family, your coffee producers. You don't go into finals expecting to win, especially because once you see every finalist performing, you realize everyone is in such a close level. Pretty much any of the finalists can be a winner. Once you're like already in top 3, you start realizing, wow, like this is a huge achievement and this could really happen. The third place was announced, and then it was just me and Dani in there, and I was like, wow, like it could be any of us, but you just don't really expect it. I think Dani that year gave an exceptional performance, and I won by like very little margin as well, and you realize how everyone is in a very same skill level, and everyone can be a wonderful World Barista Champion.
So in second place, the Barista Champion representing Italy, Daniele Ricci.
Like I said, it's the objective of WBC. It's choosing who's the next ambassador for the industry, and I think sort of that also plays a role into who wins WBC at the end in the finals day.
We were super amazed. Of course, we cried. And as a family, I think for us it was a big achievement. I think it was a huge impact through the media as well, because Brazil never had a world champion, as I said before. And the producers were super happy as well, because they were struggling a lot to show to the world that Brazil has amazing coffees as well.
Who is the winner of WBC 2023? Representing Brazil, Bora!
It meant that the market was ready for another producing country to be World Barista Champion. And also the market is ready to start looking at Brazil in a different light in terms of quality. And that's the message that I wanted to give, and that's the message the market accepted in a way. So for me, it was those two things. It's, hey, like, this is the time for Brazil to start growing as a specialty coffee producer as well, and for the market to start changing their perception about that.